everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome from wherever you're joining me today, this morning, tonight. I'm Marianne Lewis. I'm your WildFit coach for the call today. And I am based in Sydney, Australia. So it's 3 a.m. here, and I apologize for the lighting if it's a little bit kind of wonky, but there you have it. I am married. I've got two grown children, a daughter who's 20 and a son who is 22. My WildFit journey started in January 2021 when I probably had reached my lowest ebb. I was the heaviest I had ever been in my life. And I just had a whole raft of health issues which were mounting. But it wasn't always that way for me. I grew up in a really healthy household. My parents came from a small village in northern Croatia where they were a farming community. So they were pretty much subsistence farmers. And when they moved to Australia, they brought all of those values and practices with them. So I grew up understanding the value of really good quality, fresh as possible, seasonal produce. And there was a small caveat to that. My father was a massive sugarholic. So my mother would spend a large portion of the weekend baking cakes and biscuits to put in the pantry for the week ahead. And we had dessert after dinner every night, plus after lunch on Sunday. But despite all of that, I was obviously getting enough of the good stuff in because my childhood, my teenagehood, my adulthood just passed without me ever having a worry about my weight or health. I just seemed to be one of the lucky ones. I could eat whatever and do whatever I wanted without it ever seemingly being a problem for me. That is until I hit my 50s and entered menopause, and everything changed for me. It was like my body said, I've had enough. I'm throwing in the towel. You've made your bed. Now you've got to lie in it. And basically all the sins of my youth came back to bite me severely in the butt. So I then proceeded on a course of action that most people who found themselves in the same place that I was in for the next 6 years going on and off yo-yo diets and getting more and more frustrated with every failure, which brought me to January 2021, when I kind of came to the realization that this was probably my lot in life. And it was just one of those unfortunate side effects of aging. And then my mother was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I suddenly saw the writing on the wall. This was going to be my story if I didn't do something drastic. And right about then, I saw an ad for a masterclass with Eric Edmeades. I jumped on that, and everything he said resonated so much with me. Resetting your relationship with food. And boy, did I need to reset my relationship with sugar at that point. And seasonal eating being hugely important for optimal health, weight, and vitality. So without any hesitation whatsoever, I jumped on the next WildFit 90-day challenge, which kicked off 2 weeks later. And by about week 7, week 8, I realized this was completely different to anything else that I'd ever done before. And I could see the transformational changes in the way I thought about food and the way that I fueled my body. And I wanted to share this with as many people as possible. So as soon as I could, I signed up to become a WildFit coach. I was certified by the end of 2021, and I have been coaching ever since. So I'm going to change my gallery view now to try and see as many people as possible. But I want a thumbs up, thumbs down, comme ci, comme ça. How is everyone feeling at this stage? Thumbs up so far, thumbs up, thumbs up. Oh, so far, so good. Well, can I just share with you, at this point, I was a little bit of a, I'm not sure. And it was all around the fact that here I was 2 weeks into a health program. And instead of that all important number on the scales going in the right direction, it was heading the other way. I couldn't understand what was wrong. And the other thing was I wasn't ready. I hadn't mastered food freedom yet at this point. So if anyone is out there with having any of those thoughts or feelings, I want you to know that it's 100% normal. And please don't stress. We've got another 12 weeks to master all of the tools that have been shared with you to date. Learning how to nail your inner dialogue, your food timeline, all of the metaphors that Eric shares with us, the POW camp and the captain crew metaphors that are going to help you bring this experience into your everyday life. The meditations, who is loving the meditations? Me. I am absolutely loving the meditations. And my absolute favorite, which is the rewards repatterning. In fact, I had an amazing opportunity over the weekend to put rewards repatterning into practice. And it provided me the most amazing light bulb moment. So if there's time at the end of this call, I'll share that story with you. But in the meantime, I want to just reassure everyone that everything that we're doing is a layering effect. It's a habit stacking process. So please trust the process and please use those tools and resources that have been shared with you already and will continue to be shared with you as we move through the program over the next few weeks and months. So, buffer zone. This has been the first real buffer zone that you guys have had an opportunity to move through. Interested to know how everyone approached it. Who jumped straight in on Friday? I'm here to get my health on track. I'm not waiting around. I'm going straight into the enhancements that Eric has announced. Can't see. Who waited until today? Who waited until Monday? Fair enough. And then there are some who probably started to phase it in over the weekend. Yep, perfect. Whatever you did is 100% right for you. So just remember to bring awareness around how and why you made the decision that you did. The buffer zones provide the golden opportunity to shine a spotlight on the stories that we tell ourselves to convince us to take a certain course of action. So they are gold. Please remember to just focus on that. So a quick recap on our enhancements. We're taking a break from all processed sugar and all added sugar, which means that you're going to have to be a super detective when looking at those ingredients on your favorite processed goods. We've shared with you a list of 250 different names of sugar. The food industry is incredibly sneaky about how they hide that sugar in our favorite go-tos. So please make sure you remain extra vigilant. And when you go looking to see whether or not your favorite go-tos contain sugar, and you realize that they do, please don't be sad, get mad. And then make it your mission to go and find some sugar-free alternatives. And when you find them, celebrate. Do a happy dance in the middle of the supermarket aisle. Who cares who's watching? Chances are you probably put a smile on their face, and that's a good thing, right? So celebrating, I wanted to remind you that celebrating is a really good way to trigger dopamine and serotonin in the brain. And when we do that, it anchors in your new discoveries and where to find them. So please remember always, always, always to celebrate your wins. Now, depending on how much sugar or refined carbohydrates are currently in your diet or maybe have snuck back into your diet, you may or may not experience some sugar withdrawal symptoms over the next few days. Probably most unlikely because we've been increasing our fruit volume on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, which is great for mitigating those withdrawal symptoms. But just in case you start to feel some of the ones that I'll share with you in a second, I want you to know that it's 100% normal and that it means you're on track. So things like headaches, lethargy, brain fog, maybe a little bit of difficulty focusing, irritability, maybe a little bit of a queasy tummy, that's just your microbiome upgrading. Remember to do your 5x5 breath, stay hydrated, have your Alka-Geyser if you're enjoying that, and remember to have your fruit in the morning. These symptoms should only last a very short time, so please stick with the process. So before we go to check-ins, I am interested to know, and I can't really expand my view here, so maybe I'll ask you to pop it in the chat. Who is here because you upgraded from the Food Freedom Challenge over the last couple of weeks? Let me see. Susanna, I can see you. Fantastic. Excellent. Anybody else? I can't see. Wow, so many messages already. Upgraded, yay. Fantastic. Well, welcome. I'm so excited. So I'm going to try and take screenshots so I know where you are and who you are so I can call on you. I'm joking. I'm not going to do that. Don't panic. But seriously, I really would love some of you who've jumped on to the Wilder Body Challenge straight after the Food Freedom Challenge to hop on and share the reasons why. And of course, ask me any questions if you've got some as well. There are a lot of repeat wild fitters here, and they're not shy about jumping on and sharing their wins and asking me questions. But I'd really love to hear from some of you who are here for the first time. Because although repeating the process is a great and powerful way to peel back more of those layers and dig deeper, sometimes we can get tempted to gloss over some of the areas that we don't think we need to dig deeper anymore because we've got them, and that can lead to potentially missing out on some important aha moments. So I would really love some fresh eyes on this. Some of your questions, some of your experiences, some of your observations could be the exact thing that sparks the rekindling of something important that our repeat clients may have forgotten. So now to some quick housekeeping. If you want to ask a question, and I see Julie's already raised her hand, yay. Please click on the reactions button or the react button, the little heart icon at the bottom of your screen to raise your electronic hand. Make sure that your camera is on. Please, can you also try to ensure that your full first name is visible and not iPad 4 or J Stretch or something along those lines. If you're driving and you want to raise your hand and ask a question or share a win, please pull over before you raise that electronic hand, because if we see that you are moving in your car and you're the driver, we will not call on you. So with that, who is up first? Is it Julie?
It is Julie.
Can you unmute yourself, Julie? So great to meet you.
You too, Marianne. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I feel what you shared, Marianne, about where you were in your health journey. I did upgrade from the Food Freedom Challenge, and I'm here because I need to make some drastic changes. I've gotten away with mediocreness in food for decades, and it's not working at all anymore. I'm on a trajectory that I don't like, and I am here to fix.
Yeah.
So
I
my
hear you.
question,
Yeah.
I noticed, and maybe you can give me some guidance for the alkagizer, for example.
Yeah.
I'm seeing my patterns of, even when I make the list, go to the store, get everything I need, prepare it, put it in the fridge. Like, it's that last step of taking care of myself to blend it all up and consume it, that it's where I get stuck in so many things. It's like I get too hungry and I grab whatever's there waiting.
Yeah. Look, I hear you, and it sounds as though you're doing a lot of the prep, which is what I would have recommended first up, because that makes it easier. If all of your ingredients are chopped up and bagged and ready to go in the fridge, all you have to do is pull them out, throw them in the blender, and away you go. If, however, you are putting that final step off, maybe that's a really great opportunity for you to sit with a journal and ask yourself the question, why? Why are you self-sabotaging that last step, which is going to get you to the place that you want to go? So, because really, seriously, how hard is it to get up in the morning, grab your bag of veggies, throw them into the blender? And maybe you're stopping to think about the process a little bit too much as well, which is allowing room for all of that inner dialogue to start confusing you, sending you in this direction and that. So I would recommend that you sit down with a journal, just give yourself some nice, clean, empty space where you're not going to be interrupted, and let those ideas flow and see what happens for you. If it makes a difference, why don't you make the alka-jaza the night before? So you have no excuse to put that final process off. All you have to do is go to the fridge and grab it out of the fridge and start drinking it straight away. Because when we allow ourselves to go hungry, that is when we start to make unsupportive choices. So, and one of the biggest tenets of the Wilder Body program is never, ever, ever to allow yourself to go hungry. Because when you do, then we make compromises, then we'll grab things that, you know, really don't support our ultimate goals at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Oh, good, good. Is there anything else?
I'm just excited to be here with everybody, and I need the support of the group to
Yeah.
make these changes. So thank you for your time.
Julie, absolutely. Community is everything, and please take advantage of the community. Reach out to the worldwide Heartbeat Chat. Are you part of that group?
Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, make sure that you jump in there as often as you can and ask for support, but ask for support in a positive way. Hey, I'm struggling with XYZ. What tips and tricks has anyone got that they can share with me? And you'll be amazed at how much people are ready to jump in there and help support you. And just a quick word on you, your comment very early when you started chatting with me about eating in a mediocre way. See, I thought that I was doing everything right. Apart from the fact that I had a massive sweet tooth, I actually ate really healthily, so that when my body started to fail me in such a dramatic way, I was absolutely at a loss for what to do, because I'd never throughout my life had to work hard at maintaining my weight or looking after my health. It just came naturally. Where a lot of my girlfriends I saw were yo-yo dieting from their teenage and early adult years, and they had learnt from a very early stage how to be disciplined around certain food choices. I hadn't learnt any of that. So when it hit me, I really was stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I feel you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
All right.
Great. Who have we got next?
We're going to go to Shell.
Hey, Shell.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah,
Well,
good.
we're depending on who's where. I've got a
Yeah.
couple of things. One is very simple, I think, which is I've heard it said, and I think I even heard Eric say it fairly recently, or one of the coaches, that after the Alka-Geyser to wait 30 minutes, wait half an hour before continuing on with other food for breakfast. Is that how firm of a rule is that, and what is the explanation for that?
Sure. So, Shell, are you having the Alka-Geyser Mild, which includes some fruit in it?
No.
You're not. You're having the Alka-Geyser Prime?
Prime.
Which Prime? Wow, well done. Well done, you.
I'm a recent alumni.
Fair enough, fair enough. And you know what? Once you, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone else here who hasn't yet graduated and won't graduate from the Alka-Geyser Prime for a few weeks yet, but once you do graduate to the Alka-Geyser Prime, I don't think you ever want to go back to a sweeter version. For you, I would look, if you're hungry straight after, because there's no fruit involved, you go right ahead and have something else if you want to have something else straight after. That suggestion really just applies if there's fruit involved, because fruit comes to us somewhat pre-digested,
Yeah.
and it wants to rush through the digestive tract. So if we were to eat something solid straight after eating some fruit, we'd end up with a little bit of argy-bargy in our stomach, and we don't want to create any excuse for acid reflux or indigestion. So that's where that guideline applies.
Great explanation. I understand that. I do occasionally put a little bit of the coconut water in, and some drops of lime juice, but I don't think that's enough to shift it. Okay,
no, absolutely not.
So my other more complex and I think interesting question is I come from a history of binging, and I still binge, and it's different. There's something about the binging that that I'm still stuck on. I've been doing some investigating that, and have a sense of that there's, I mean, one thing was important for me, just to back off beating myself up about it, and just let it be, and self-love, and watch it, and be curious, and try and look at it. And now what's coming up is that the function of the binging is to take me into a dissociative state, which is comfortable, and removes me from facing whatever negative stuff is going on, or just ancient stuff. There's a certain pleasure to it, but mostly it's just this compulsive weird thing. And most of the binging at this point is I've gotten it down. It's not, it's fairly benign, but still the dynamic is upsetting, and I'm eating so much sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds is mostly what I binge on now, and that's peculiar. It's very, and someone had suggested, well, maybe there's a lack of zinc or something. So I've been taking some zinc supplements, and that doesn't really seem to alter it much. But what came up the other day, and I can't even remember what was going on, was that there was some historic, really bad thing that had occurred, and I got into this mode of dissociation, rather than face the horror and the pain. And I'm sort of wanting to know the full story, but scared to find out. That's where I'm at.
Oh, Jill, thank you so much. I can see that this really hits a very raw place for you. And you know, apart from our inner dialogue and the food devil, which can appear to us in many different forms depending on who's trying to convince us to make a certain decision, we have two distinct brains. We actually have three, actually. Our gut is a very effective brain, but a lot of our impulsive, instinctive decisions are made from our primitive or survival brain, which has a few kind of major what's the word I'm looking for? It just has two or three roles that it wants to fulfill. The first one is survival. The second one is to avoid pain at all cost. And the third is to find reward or pleasure in the fastest, easiest way possible. So what you have, and I think this possibly rings true for some people, many people who do find themselves in that binging cycle, is that you go there when you're trying to avoid facing the pain or the discomfort. So we're using food to either escape from the pain or discomfort, or to push it down, or to run away from it. And that is a survival instinct. We don't want to be in a place that could be potentially dangerous for us, or potentially affect our survival chances. So I mentioned that I had a most amazing opportunity to practice rewards repatterning over the weekend. And inner dialogue has been something that I have really had to force myself over the last 4 years to get down into the nitty-gritty of. I've never been an amazing journaler. Journaling is an incredibly powerful tool in helping to get us down to the nitty-gritty of what's really going on, especially when you know there's something there deep down and you can't put your finger on it, but it's all too hard and all too uncomfortable to deal with it right now. So let's just go and distract ourselves with whatever it is, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds for you at the moment. Which, by the way, in small quantities is absolutely fine. But
Oh, yeah.
you can
quantities.
you can get too
What the
much
hell
of a
is
good thing, right?
that?
But you can get too much of a good thing. So the rewards repatterning, this is probably really, because I can't see any other hands raised at this point. So the rewards repatterning, for me, represents one of the most powerful tools in helping to rewire the brain quickly. So my story over the weekend was that I woke up on Saturday morning really feeling out of sorts. I was feeling anxious. My heart was beating 10 to the dozen. I felt this really deep feeling of foreboding. I feel like I was possibly having a bit of an anxiety attack. And the worst part about it was I couldn't put my finger on what might have caused it. So I lay there in bed doing my 5x5 breathing, which always helps start my day off in the perfect way, but it didn't even touch the sides on Saturday morning. So I decided to get up out of bed. I was shaking, I was feeling nauseous, sick on the stomach. I was seriously in full-on fight or flight mode. But decided to push through with my Saturday morning jobs anyway, and coming into the office and try and do a few jobs in the office as well. I was hoping that by mid-morning, this mood would lift and everything would fall back into place. Everything would become normal again. By midday, nothing had changed. And I was really starting to panic that, that this was going to be my day for the rest of the day and possibly into Sunday as well. So I started to think about ways that I could possibly help shift my mood. And voila, the thought popped up in my head, I know, sugar will fix it, of course. So, and mine is not a household where you'll find blocks of chocolate or donuts in the fridge, but I do always keep a box of medjool dates in the pantry. They're juicy, they're sweet, they're gooey. It's just like eating a sticky date pudding, right? And on top of it all, it's fresh fruit, it's whole food. Fresh fruits are allowable at the moment. It's whole food. It's chock-a-block full of all the yummy nutrients, and it's got fiber in it. Who heard my drug dealer and nurse devil personalities in that statement? They were so sneaky, but it perked me up. So I got up from my desk and I started walking toward the kitchen. And then I stopped halfway because I remembered rewards repatterning. And I realized that if I went to the kitchen right there and then and grabbed myself some dates, feeling the way that I was going to be reinforcing the need to feel like crap in order to be able to have and enjoy my dates. So I had to use willpower at this point, but I turned myself back around and I came back to the office and I sat down and thought, okay, how can I change my mood around using more functional behavior that doesn't involve food? I live on the beaches in Sydney, gorgeous sort of suburbs up and down the coast. And I love driving up and down the coast with the window down and the wind blowing my hair. So I decided I'd go for a drive. My daughter joined me and we chatted in the car and I shared with her how I was feeling. And she shared some strategies that she uses sometimes when she's feeling a bit overwhelmed or a little bit anxious, or she's in a bad mood or feeling angry or frustrated. And after about an hour, we got home and I was definitely feeling calmer. My heart rate had settled, but I was still feeling sad. I still had that heavy feeling. So I thought, what else can I do? I grabbed my dog and took him for a walk up through the bush tracks that are very close to home. I felt like I needed to get out of the hustle and bustle of Manly, the suburb that we live in. It's a very busy suburb, especially in the warmer months, and out in nature where I could listen to the birds that just feed my soul. And by the time I got home, another hour later, I was certainly not feeling sad anymore, but I still wasn't happy. So I was in that kind of blah state of not sad, but not glad, if you know what I mean. So I sat down at my desk again and I thought I was looking for an Eric Sandcastle moment. You know, remember Eric's Sandcastle story? That's what I was looking for. That's what I needed. And then I remembered one of the strategies that my daughter shared. When she finds herself in one of these moods, she sits down and does colouring in. So I walked into a room and I grabbed some of her colouring papers and her colouring pencils. And I sat down and thought, well, why not give it a go and see what happens? An hour and a half later, I had produced this and a giant smile on my face. I had hit the mother lode. And that was such an amazing light bulb moment for me to realize that I could actually change such negative emotions around to feeling so positive. Honestly, I could have slayed dragons then. And then I thought, now I deserve my dates. And I didn't even feel like them anymore because I'd filled my emotional tank in a much more functional way, not using food. So when we fill our emotional needs, then we're less likely to turn to food to push down or try and escape those feelings that are buried deep within us. Now, I know that it's really, really important, Shell, for you to kind of try and dig deep into those parts of us that are possibly harboring some feelings and some emotions that are unconsciously pushing us in a certain direction that isn't necessarily supportive to our health and well-being goals. But sometimes that's a gently process, because if that pain is so profound and so deep that sometimes it might be easier to reverse engineer the process. And that for me is what I feel rewards repatterning is. It's like rewiring your brain without necessarily having to dig up all the dirt over there and find those buried skeletons. Maybe we can start laying down new superhighways without ever having to deal with that necessarily in a kind of confrontational way. It doesn't mean that you never deal with it, but you don't have to confront it full on. Does that help?
A little bit.
Hey,
I like very
hello.
Hello.
the repatterning
Hey,
uh,
Gary.
activities, and it's great what you did, but it doesn't seem to quite apply in terms of, because it's like I'm not starting from a negative emotion. Generally, it's being overtired, but even not that, it's just kind of like, well, it's the nighttime and I maybe want to watch some images, or I'm doing something, I want to do something either pleasant or a chore, well I'm winding down and getting ready to go to bed. And part of the habit is then I stuff my face with seeds or whatever it was in the past. Right now it's seeds, which and curiously last night I did have some more sunflower seeds in the basement, but where I was punishing a couple of the puppies down there, so I didn't want to go in there, and I just had a smaller portion of pumpkin seeds, and somehow separating them, there was something that was useful about it just being the pumpkin seeds. In any case, so and I'm getting a little better at distracting myself. Well, put it off and look at it a bit, do some breathing, drink some more water. And as I go through that, and then there's, 7 minutes later, no, I want the seeds. So eventually having the seeds. But so in this case, it's not, I'm not coming from a place where I'm looking for an activity to change the mood. The mood is okay, and I have a habit of binging.
Could it
Hey,
be a certain...
Marianne,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, Eric, how are you?
let me just jump in for a minute.
Oh,
This is an
hello.
important thing about this sort of reward patterning idea. It's not simply about negative emotions or that kind of thing. It's about any state that you're not enjoying. It's about any state of mind that you're not
Great
enjoying.
point.
So if you're feeling a little tired, you're feeling a little lazy, you're feeling a little bored, you're feeling a little restless, or all the way out to sad, depressed, and so on. The core principle is any behavior or emotional state that you reward, your body will repeat and it will trigger again. And so I'm totally with you. Like you're not talking about, hey, I'm in a really bad mood and I need to change it. But what you are saying is you do want to change your state, right? That's what you're saying. You're saying I'm a little tired. Maybe I want to watch something. Maybe I want to get some images. I want to change how I feel. So that's okay. That's totally great. You want to change how you feel. So then the question is, how are you going to change the way you feel? If you change the way you feel in a hyper pleasurable way, that is to say that you use a drug or a food or a caffeine or a something, then your body is going to learn, oh, well, then the way to get to this is by putting me in that other state that I didn't like very much. And so what Marianne is describing, and so well described, is that the idea is to insert a step in there to change that state to a more enjoyable state without using a food, without using something dysfunctional. And so, and then as Marianne pointed out, very often when you do make that change, what will happen is that the craving that was associated with the low or negative energy space will go away. So this is not something that I think will magically be obvious immediately. It's something that you have to, this is where you do use a little willpower because you're like, oh, I'm feeling a little low. I'm feeling a little low energy. I really could use a little distraction or what have you. It's not a major thing, but it is where willpower comes in and says, wait, I need to lift myself up. So I'm going to take the dogs for a walk, or I'm going to call my children, or I'm going to express love in some other way. I'm going to lift my vibration up, and then I can reassess that conversation with the food. Does that make sense?
It does, and I get all that, but it still doesn't really seem to apply because my mood in these cases just, if anything, the appropriate thing would be to just go to bed and go to sleep because really I'm a little overtired. But it's even I do it when I'm driving if I've got a long commute or something. Part of what it's like putting stuff into my mouth and chewing. It's a compulsive thing. That I don't know if you were here from the beginning of this thing where I was talking about it takes me into a dissociative state. So that seems to be the functioning goal of it is
Okay.
to take me
Very
out of
important to
reality.
remember.
Say
It's
again?
very important. It's very important to remember that we are sharing a variety of different strategies for changing behavior. This particular one around reward repatterning is really, really amazing when you can observe using food as a drug. But in this case, say you're driving and you're looking for something compulsive, like you just want to be chewing to keep yourself awake or what have you. That's a somewhat different experience unless you use dysfunctional food. So let's say you're driving along, you're feeling a little bored, you feel a compulsion to do some chewing, so you stop and you get yourself some gummy bears. Well, that'll keep you awake, no question about it. But then your body will learn, oh, the way to get to these gummy bears is to create that feeling of boredom, right? So instead, get some pistachio nuts that you have to open manually. And then you'll find you get to follow the compulsion, but you get to follow the compulsion in a way that isn't full of hyper flavor and sugar that will trigger the emotional state again. So it does apply. It just may not be as obvious to you its application until you've done it a few times.
Okay, I'll
So,
investigate that some
sounds
more.
good. I just wanted to stop in real quick, Marianne. I didn't want to crash your call too much.
No,
I just spent the whole
So
day in
good
the
to see
studio
you.
making a bunch of Wild Fit videos, and it's been so much fun. And then I saw that you guys were on the call, so I just came to say hello to everybody. I'm so happy for all of you. I read the comments that you guys are going through. This is so, so exciting. And frankly, you're now heading into, in a sense, the most exciting phase of this, because we've laid these powerful, powerful psychological foundations. And now we start making shifts, and it's going to happen quick. And I'm so excited for you all. And I look forward to our next live call together. I'll hand it back over to you, Marianne.
Thanks, you.
Eric.
Always a pleasure, Eric. Bye for now.
Well, I'm actually delighted that he stepped in. I was wanting to take up this this conversation with him, but he wasn't available the other day, or I didn't get my hand up early enough, and almost didn't step forward today because you're not Eric.
Oh,
and you're wonderful, and I really appreciate it. And
I won't take it personally.
No, please don't.
Well, I'm actually honored because you did decide to jump on in the end anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, and one thing, as Eric was chatting as well, something that occurred to me, and it might have just been in the way that you said something, was is part of what you're doing, because you mentioned the word disassociative a couple of times, mindless eating. Are you forgetting to apply full consciousness to the process of eating? So when you start eating, it's almost like your body's signal to switch off.
But that seems to be the objective of the binge, is to go mindless.
Yeah. Why do you want to go mindless? What are you trying to disassociate from? Yeah, I think, you know what, Shell? Pardon?
I think it's really, it's kind of an ancient habit. I mean, it used to be for decades and decades, it would be sugar and ice cream, and eating enough sugar and ice cream that my head would explode and I would pass out. So there was that level of, and then I went through a phase of a lot of alcohol. But when it was sugar, it wasn't just being mindless for a while. It would take me to a blackout.
Yeah, right. Well, that is serious. Eric often shares a story about our ancestors and needing to eat mindlessly or needing to disassociate from the act of eating because they always had to be on the lookout for danger. So they couldn't just sort of sit down to a meal and gather around and chat and enjoy the leg of mammoth or whatever it was that they'd been able, or the basket full of yams that they dug up from the ground. They had to always keep one eye out for potential predators. So it's probably, or possibly a little bit, a biological imperative. However, it has no place in modern society because we seriously live in the safest time in human history. So I think you're underplaying it a little bit, Shell, and there's a good opportunity for you to maybe sit down, pull out a journal, and maybe just explore that. Write a little story. Just let your mind run away with you. But I can see that there are a few more hands up, and I really want to get to as many people as possible, if that's okay with you.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it was a big chunk of time, but what you just said now, something about underplaying, I didn't understand what you're saying.
Underplaying.
You said, but I think
yes, don't try not to underplay the fact that you're using the nuts just to disassociate because you just want to switch that off. I think what you may find if you spend the time, if you want to take the time to sit down and maybe just allow yourself to jot down some notes, just allow whatever comes into mind, that maybe there is something kind of bubbling beneath the surface that you're actively trying to disassociate from. There may not be, but you know what? It's worth a try.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Shell. So who do we have next?
We're gonna go to Ranjit.
Hey, Ranjit.
Hi, Marianne. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here. And I'm a very questioning person by nature, so feel free not to call on me admin.
I have seen you on a few of these calls, I must say.
I saw no hands up, so I raised my hand. That was it. If somebody else is important, I can go off.
Everyone is important.
So just a couple of things. One was I'm also reaching 50, and again in my 30s I had no problem with weight. I could eat anything, nothing happened. But now I'm finding I've gone through various diets. That yo-yo thing has happened with me also. That's why I hopped on the program. But after 2 weeks, I find again, as you said, my weight remained more or less stable. So my food devil is saying there are people with who've lost a lot of weight and nothing's happened to you. That means nothing is wrong with you. So you stop doing this. Stop doing this program and go back to your normal this thing. So that's where I'm at. I'm trying to. I'm not having a difficulty with quitting sugar or anything, but it's just that occasional emotional craving and that feeling that I need to eat sweets after lunch or that kind of this thing.
Absolutely. Look, Ranjit, what you're explaining is 100% normal at this stage of the program. Please remember that what we've been doing up until now is not taking a break from anything. So what we've been doing is adding more of the good stuff in and working on the psychology of our relationships with food, getting down into the nitty-gritty, tunneling down, to use Eric's POW camp. From today, we start tunneling sideways out towards that prison wall and ultimate food freedom. So it's very, very, very unlikely that anyone would see any movement down on the bathroom scales. I didn't. In fact, I had gained 1.5 kilos by this stage of the program when I did Wild Fit for the very first time. And it wasn't until I started to take a break from some of the foods that we are now starting to do, starting with sugar this week, that you will start to notice that your body will adjust and your weight will adjust and your body will find its balance. It will find its health balance. It will find its weight balance. Fabulous consciousness around your inner dialogue. You're really hearing all of those sneaky little tactics that your inner food devils. Have you been able to assign personalities to them? Is it the drug dealer?
Yes.
Is it the rebel? Oh my gosh. Who have you got in there?
I've got quite a few. I've got the nurse in there. I've got the bully in there, and the drug dealer is there. There is the scientist also, which says that okay, this is good. This is So I can see various. Initially, I couldn't see any, but the more I dug into it, then I started finding some people appearing.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that we've now introduced personalities to the food devil because it just helps us identify those minute shifts in emotions that are triggering our responses. The first couple of days of taking a break from sugar, your inner dialogue might not be as great, but I think you are going to be very entertained by the end of the week. You might have a visitation from the sugar monster who will start saying to you, "You've been so good." Just as Eric pointed out in today's video, so good. A little bit isn't going to matter. Who's going to know? Eric's not going to know. Marianne's not going to know. But the more times you practice your short-term willpower muscle, the more times you say, no, not this time, the stronger that muscle will get and the weaker the voices of your inner dialogue will get as well. So stay the course. You're doing great. And
thank you so much.
You trust the process. We'll all get there together.
Thank you so much.
And you don't look approaching 50 at all. Who have we got next?
We are going to Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hi. All right, let me figure this out. All right. So, funny thing, this is like my third time doing the program. We wanted to, like, me and my wife and I wanted to get like the stuff that was missing, because it seemed like at the first time of Wild Fit, they left us at week 13 and they didn't really give us like a plan. And so the first time I lost 20 pounds, the second time I lost 28 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilos. Kilos are weird.
I only speak in kilos, but that's about 8 kilos, I think.
but right now, like it's just like my 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 food angel is funny because it's Kermit the Frog from Sesame Street or Muppets, whatever. And there was an old cartoon called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe when I was younger. And so my food devil is Skeletor from that cartoon.
Okay.
And so like it was funny because my son heard me say that and he bought me two little toy cars with those but like I'm at a weird point right now because I like right now this past week everybody's been sick in my house and um and now I just barely came down with it yesterday night. And so I'm trying to figure out well the normal remedy would be like go chicken noodle soup. Old school mom always did it and drink a little bit of Sprite to help settle the stomach. And so I'm just like, well, I can't do that today. I've got to keep sugar out. And so I'm trying to think of something else that I can kind of help me satiate my water need. But I just like I'm drawing a blank.
So drinking plain water for you is a little bit difficult at the moment because you're feeling a little bit upset on the tummy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, chicken broth, a good quality chicken broth is a fabulous way of just making sure that you stay hydrated. It's chock-a-block full of so many good things. It's got electrolytes in there, so that's going to keep your energy levels up. It's got nutrients in there. It's got collagen and elastin in there. So if you can get hold of a good quality chicken broth, or you could be bothered, you or your wife could be bothered to cook up a good home broth, that's going to be a great option for you. How would you be with carbonated water? I mean, it's not ideal, but if that's going to be easier for you to stomach, then, you know, maybe that's something that you could look at, or maybe some unsweetened coconut water, perhaps, because really, in all honesty, taking a break from sugar now is the best possible action you can take when you're coming down with something, because sugar is highly inflammatory to the body and keeps us sicker. So you're actually moving into a really good week if you're feeling the way that you are. So the more you can stay with the program and look for alternatives that fit within kind of the parameters, the better outcome I think that you'll experience.
I see the hard thing for me is when if I drink something that doesn't have any flavoring, then it doesn't seem worth it to me. So I'm a sodaholic. I mean, my wife there's a store near us that says if you buy 12 packs of soda, you get 3 free. And so I drink 5 12 packs of soda 2 a week, and so it just
so this is going to be a very challenging week for you. Tell me, have you increased the quantity of fruit that you have in the morning? Are you able to stomach fruit in the morning?
So I have this morning I only ate an orange. That's all I could deal with. But then like we do have a lot of fruit. We've got kiwis and dragon fruit and oranges, blueberries, strawberries. And those are what I normally eat just on a daily basis. The hardest part is that because like we lost our blender and we just moved into a new house, and so we lost our blender, and so I can't really make an alkagizer, and so it's just I don't know, chewing, like Eric said, chewing all that food takes a long time.
It does take a long time, and the Alkagizer is an amazing hack for getting a lot of those veggies into us and a lot of those nutrients into us first thing in the morning. It's a lot of nutrient bang for buck first up in the day. Is there an opportunity for you to get another Alkagizer soon? Another blender, sorry, soon?
So it's funny because my wife's great grandpa was the one that founded Vitamix. And so she's got
A good contact.
Yeah, she's a good, and so she's working on ordering a new one. It just won't be here for like a week or so.
Okay.
And
look, in the meantime, try and keep your hydration up as much as possible, doing whatever you can to make the water taste interesting. So you can add a little bit of lemon or lime juice in there. You can add some squished fruit in there, a little bit of strawberries or something to give it a little bit of flavor. You can have coconut water at the moment. Coconut water is chock-a-block full of electrolytes as well. So that's going to be good for you, especially if you're kind of not feeling very well, and it'll just help with energy and so on. But yeah, I think sodas are off the list, obviously, 100%. And you're going to have to find some alternatives, Mark. And yeah, just look at ways that you can make your water interesting and other ways that you can get that hydration in.
Yeah, I'll try it. I need to add actual squeezed lemon into my. We've got like bottled lemon juice, and it didn't seem to be lemony enough. So
yeah, you know what, that bottled stuff is never the same as the real thing. So and maybe even just some squeezed orange juice in there as well, just a teeny bit of just a squeeze of a slice of orange in there as well, or just a slice sitting inside the water just to give it that tiny little bit of flavor.
Okay.
Your taste buds, I guarantee your taste buds will improve over the next week. You will be so surprised by Thursday, Friday this week, how much sensitive your taste buds are to the real flavor of food. As Eric said in his video this morning, junk sugars and sadly sodas fit right in that category. They dumb down our taste buds. So as soon as we start removing all those junk sugars, we get to experience food flavors as they're really meant to be. So what you might find hard to be palatable now might become so much easier for you to take by the end of the week. So just stick with it. You might just have to push yourself through just while the going gets tough over the next couple of days. There are massive rewards on the other side of that. Trust me.
Okay. I'll do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for jumping on. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Bye for now. So who do we have up next?
We are actually almost at time.
Oh, is it a big deal if we go a minute or two later than scheduled, or is that going to throw everything out?
No, we're good.
No?
If you want to keep
Okay.
going. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, then we'll go
Okay.
to Joanne.
Hey, Joanne. Hi, Joanne. You're still muted, darling.
I think I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yep, you are. You are.
Wonderful. I've just got a very quick question for you, so hopefully it won't take us too much past our scheduled time. So I know we're going into no refined sugars this week. What I am a little bit conflicted with is that I'm currently on a Viome regimen. I don't know if you're familiar with the company. They basically try to help you to rebalance your gut microbiome. And so with this, I have supplements. And in these supplements, I've checked the ingredients list, and there's maltodextrin in there. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to remove them because they're custom supplements. And I've actually emailed the manufacturer a couple of times asking if they could change the composition, but I think it might be in the capsule formulation, or in some cases it's a sachet where there's a ton of prebiotics and stuff like that. So I'm just curious, what would your recommendation be at this point? Do I continue with the supplements, or are we suggesting as we start moving I'm not a first timer here. As we start moving into the seasons, do I have to take a break from these supplements?
Yeah. Are
Clearly
you
knowing
are you under the care of a health professional?
I am, yes, I do have a functional health medicine doctor that I visit with, who is also aware that I am taking these supplements right now. And again, I'm actually using different modalities. My goal here is really to achieve cellular health. So I'm very, very focused on ultimately, getting to the cellular level of my health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this
I guess
and obviously WILDERBODY has been a great.
Yeah, look, I guess the question that I'm asking is whether or not your functional health doctor has prescribed these supplements because you have a prescriptive need for them, or whether it's just a part of a process for you to help your body achieve optimal health. But it's not necessary for you to take because you have a health condition.
There's not necessarily any kind of linkage with like a chronic health condition. Again, like I said, I apply different modalities to my health, right? Healthy eating and checking in on, different things within my biology to ensure that I am starting to improve that and to increase or I guess to decrease the age limit. There's a chronological age and a biological age. So these are just different things that I'm playing with. Health
Absolutely.
from the inside out.
Longevity. Look, we're all here for the very same reason. We don't want to just live long. We want to live long healthier.
Correct.
And push that biological age down. Even though our chronological age says we're up here, we want to have that biological age down here. WildFit, as you know, because this isn't your first time, supports gut health in a very positive, natural way through diet and through the elimination of foods that can cause inflammation and can cause an imbalance in the gut biome. So unless you're taking those supplements to correct a health condition, which it doesn't sound like you are, it just sounds like you're
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to share that I absolutely agree. WildFit is there to give me the supplemental true food. But what I'm learning through Biome is that there are certain foods, and it's all based on your microbiome, that is inflammatory for me. So for instance, the Alkagizer would suggest I should have celery and cucumber as my base. Cucumber is inflammatory for me. So I've learned through that I have to supplement with something else. So like I'll do a zucchini instead. And that's kind of what I'm learning. But yes, to your point, it's not necessarily that I have any kind of a health condition that is requiring me to take it, but it is supposed to accelerate the process for me.
Okay, so what I would suggest is that you have a chat with your functional health professional and pose the question, if I were to take a break from these supplements, because I'm following this protocol right now, being WILDERBODY, describe it to them, and we're at the process of eliminating all sugars right at this stage. And unfortunately, these probiotics contain sugars. So unless we can find an alternative that has no sugars in them, would it be a problem for me to just take a short break from them while I focus on following the protocols of the WILDERBODY program? How does that sound to you?
I am definitely okay with asking the question. The one question I have left, I guess, which would be, is there a minimum amount that's allowed, or should we just say 0? Because what a maltodextrin is, I don't have the supplement list here. I don't know at what level of there's definitely a little bit of sweetness, right? In the sachet, for sure. Maybe not the pills, but definitely in the sachet. So at what degree would there be an acceptable degree? Like in the capsule.
Do you know what, Joanne, sorry, how long is a piece of string? When you start saying, well, if we allow a little bit in, does it mean that I can allow a little bit more in? Isn't it easier just to say, let's just take a complete break? And then later down the track, when we are looking at reintroducing some of the foods that we've maybe taken a bit of a break from, then we can decide to what degree we can reintroduce them. So while we're doing, I've always thought to myself, once you start kind of making the parameters a little bit elastic, people interpret them in exactly the way their food devil wants them to interpret them. So just be mindful of who's talking there. Is that you understanding that, okay, these are protocols that have been laid out for a very good reason. Or is it my food devil saying, oh, but a little bit isn't going to hurt because it's teeny. It's only a teeny amount. So, but that's my recommendation from where I sit, unless you're taking them for a particular health concern and your functional health care professional is happy for you to take a bit of a break from them to just allow you to go through this process and then reintroduce them later. That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Well, I'll ask, but if they say you should stay on it, then I stay on it.
Well, you know what? I would ask the question, why isn't there one that doesn't contain sugar? Surely there must be something. Is it a compounded product? Do you get it from a compounding pharmacist?
Specifically,
Well,
they send it to you, and there's no way to change it. I mean, they go straight to the laboratory and they create these custom solutions. But like I said, it's the encapsulation of these pills that have maltodextrin in there, the capsules itself.
Oh,
So
the actual
it's not like-
capsules.
yeah, there's not like they can actually tell me, okay, you know.
So is there, can you open the capsules and just take what the ingredients are from the
there's
capsule?
no way to do that. There's, well, maybe.
You can, capsules, you can generally pull capsules apart. So if the capsule is what contains the sugar, then just get rid of the capsule.
Take out the capsule, but the sachet is the one that I can't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I will definitely ask the question and see what they said. Thank you so much.
Oh, no worries. And let us know how you go.
Okay.
Perfect. Fitza, do we have time to have a quick
Yeah,
quick
let's end
question
it
from
off with
Fitza?
Fiza.
Perfect. Hey,
Hi
how are
guys.
you?
Hi Marianne.
Hello, darling. How are
Um,
you?
I'm good. I'm great. I actually wanted to come on and say, I'm so glad that we're in this week of taking a break from the sugars. I went to the hospital the other night and I saw my aunt take one of her last breaths. And, seeing that in front of me really woke me up to how precious life is and how blessed we are and how lucky we are to be here alive, moving. And she loved WildFit. She really, really loved it and believed in it. And so I just wanted to come and say that, we are taking back our power and we're not gonna let the food industry put sugar down us and poison us. And let's stay wild, let's stay healthy, let's be free.
Here, here. I'm with you. Very well said, Fitza. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Oh my gosh, we went a little bit over time and thank you for sticking with me. Have a fantastic week. Please be mindful of your inner dialogue. Watch out for the sugar monster. And look out for all those added sugars in all your regular convenience food go-tos. And I can't wait to watch you blossom over the coming weeks and months. So great to see you here. And thank you so much for sharing to everyone. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good job,
Bye.
Marianne.
Bye.
Bye.